the fires of life, every man is tested. Some melt under the heat, others are forged into steel. The ancients called this spirit Hage no Ishi, the will of steel. It is the heart that does not break, even when the sword shatters in his hand. To lead is not to command others. It is to master yourself so completely that your very presence commands respect, without a single word spoken. The samurai knew this truth. Leadership is not taken by force, but earned through discipline, honor, and stillness of mind. Every strike of the hammer, every scar of failure, every dawn when you rise again, it all forges you. Because a leader is not born from comfort, he is shaped by fire, sharpened by duty, and tempered by silence. If you are here, it means you felt that call, the silent warrior's oath within your chest. You're not chasing fame, you're building presence. You're not demanding respect, you're earning it through discipline and unwavering resolve. This is your forge, this is your awakening. The path of Bushido awaits, the code that transforms ordinary men into pillars of strength, wisdom, and respect. So if your heart burns with purpose, comment, "I'm ready to lead." Subscribe, not for entertainment, but to walk this path with a brotherhood of warriors who choose to forge themselves rather than fade away. Thank you for being part of this circle of discipline, this community of men who rise with honor. In the ancient world of the samurai, discipline was not a choice. It was the foundation upon which every breath, every movement, and every thought was built. The path of Bushido demanded that a warrior's spirit be sharper than his blade, and his control over self greater than his command over others. Discipline is the art of ruling the chaos within before attempting to lead the world without. It is the quiet fire that tempers emotion, the unseen force that shapes will into purpose. Desire, on the other hand, is a storm, wild, consuming, and often deceptive. It promises power, but breeds weakness when left unchecked. The samurai understood this truth deeply, that the man enslaved by desire, no matter how skilled or strong, is already defeated. Leadership begins not with ambition, but with mastery, and mastery begins with discipline. To walk the path of the samurai is to understand that discipline is not restriction, it is liberation, the liberation from the impulses that chain ordinary men. The modern man faces different battles, but the enemy remains the same: distraction, indulgence, and the endless pull of comfort. The world whispers promises of ease and pleasure, tempting him to trade his potential for temporary satisfaction. But the man who seeks to lead, to command respect, not through words but through presence, must resist this siren's call. His weapon is consistency, his armor is restraint. Discipline is not simply doing what is hard, it is doing what is right, even when no one is watching. It is waking before dawn, sharpening the mind through routine, and staying loyal to one's mission long after the motivation fades. The samurai called this ji, the virtue of righteousness. It is the moral compass that keeps a warrior steady when the path grows dark. True leadership demands this form of discipline, the kind that turns action into ritual and ritual into strength. When a man chooses discipline over desire, he begins to embody stillness in motion, the essence of Bushido leadership. His actions are deliberate, his words are few, and his energy commands attention without effort. People sense this presence, not through charisma or dominance, but through silent certainty. A disciplined man becomes a mirror to others, reflecting their potential and their weakness simultaneously. He inspires without preaching because his life itself becomes the message. This is the paradox of leadership the samurai understood, that control over self is the highest form of power. When your spirit is anchored in discipline, you become unshakable, unmoved by chaos, untempted by vanity, and untouchable by fear. Others follow you not because they must, but because they trust that your actions arise from principle, not impulse. Discipline builds respect. and respect, once earned, becomes the quiet authority that no title or rank can bestow. Yet discipline is not the absence of desire, it is its transformation. The samurai did not kill their desires, they refined them. The desire for glory became the pursuit of honor. The hunger for power became the will to serve. The longing for recognition became the drive for mastery. This is the true art of leadership, to channel desire into purpose, to forge it into something higher. Every man carries the fire of desire within, but only the disciplined learn to shape it into light instead of letting it consume them. This transformation requires patience, sacrifice, and a devotion to one's code, a personal Bushido. It is not a single act of willpower, but a lifetime of alignment. When a man learns to govern himself with discipline, he no longer chases respect, he becomes worthy of it. And in that quiet strength lies the essence of what it means to be a leader. A man of Bushido, forged in fire, ruled by principle, and unshaken by desire. In the presence of a true samurai, words become unnecessary. His silence speaks louder than the loudest boast. His stillness carries the weight of mountains, and his gaze pierces through pretense like a blade through silk. This is the presence of steel, the invisible aura that commands respect without demand. It is not born from arrogance, but from deep alignment between thought, action, and spirit. The samurai trained for years not just to master the sword, but to master demeanor. Every movement was deliberate, every breath intentional. Through this discipline they cultivated a calm that could silence chaos. When a man achieves harmony within himself, the world around him cannot shake him. People feel that strength instinctively, the quiet certainty of someone who knows who he is and does not need validation. This is leadership in its purest form, to stand firm, unwavering, while others crumble or chase attention. The presence of steel is not shown, it is felt. In our modern world, this presence is rare. Many men speak loudly to mask insecurity, post endlessly to seek validation, or lead through fear rather than respect. But true power radiates from within, a blend of confidence and humility, of calm authority and quiet purpose. When you walk into a room, your energy should arrive before your words. This comes not from pretending to be strong, but from doing the inner work daily, staying disciplined, aligning your words with truth, and staying loyal to your principles, even when unseen. The samurai called this seijaku, stillness in the midst of action. It is the art of remaining composed when everything burns around you. A man who cultivates seijaku does not rush, does not react. He responds. He leads by example, not emotion. People trust him because his steadiness gives them something solid to hold on to in uncertain times. Commanding respect without words also means rejecting the need to prove yourself. The samurai never begged to be acknowledged. They let their conduct define their worth. Modern leaders often fall into the trap of seeking approval, mistaking noise for influence. But the samurai way teaches the opposite, that the quieter you become, the more power your actions carry. Respect is not taken, it's reflected back to you from those who recognize your inner strength. The presence of steel is magnetic because it emerges from self-mastery. It does not chase recognition, it draws it naturally. A man who is at peace with his purpose doesn't need to defend his position. His conviction speaks in his silence, his discipline in his demeanor. To lead like a samurai is to embody such unshakable presence that others instinctively align with your energy, not out of fear but out of reverence. The forging of this presence is not done in public, but in solitude. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching, in meditation, in perseverance, in small daily victories against weakness. The samurai called this inner work shugyo, the austere training of mind, body, and spirit. It is a lifelong journey, not toward perfection, but toward authenticity. Every moment of control sharpens your presence. Every test of patience strengthens your aura. Eventually, your stillness becomes contagious, your calm becomes a weapon, and your mere presence commands loyalty. This is the essence of samurai leadership, to become a man so grounded, so centered, that even in silence your energy speaks 1,000 words. The presence of steel is not about dominance. It is about alignment, the merging of strength, integrity, and serenity into a force that cannot be ignored, cannot be faked, and cannot be broken. In the ancient world of the samurai, honor was more than a virtue, it was life itself. A warrior could lose a battle and still retain his dignity, but if he lost his honor, he lost everything. To the samurai, Meo, the virtue of honor, was the invisible thread that bound every action to the soul. It was the compass that directed choices, even when no one was watching. This code demanded that every decision, every word, and every strike of the sword be guided by integrity, not pride. For a samurai, leadership began with this sacred commitment, to live in truth, to stand by one's principles even when they brought hardship. Honor was not about glory or recognition, it was about being able to face one's own reflection without shame. A man of Bushido did not seek admiration, he sought alignment between his actions and his values. This is where true respect is born, not from what you achieve, but from how you achieve it. In today's world, the idea of honor has been clouded by ego and self-interest. Men are often taught that leadership means control, dominance, or status, but these are illusions. The man who leads through ego builds castles of sand. They crumble at the first wave of challenge. The one who leads with integrity, however, becomes unshakable, because his foundation rests on truth. Honor in leadership means doing what is right, even when it costs you. It means refusing shortcuts, keeping promises, and standing firm against dishonesty. It's the strength to admit mistakes rather than disguise them, to protect the weak rather than exploit them. The samurai lived with constant awareness of seppuku, ritual death, not as punishment, but as a reminder that honor is worth more than life itself. That same spirit, when carried into modern leadership, creates a man whose actions inspire trust without demand and loyalty without fear. To lead through integrity is to lead through example. A leader's conduct becomes the blueprint for his followers. His consistency, his humility, his fairness. When your actions are aligned with your words, people feel safe under your guidance. They see in you not perfection but authenticity. The samurai believed that honor was not proven in moments of glory, but in moments of temptation. When no one watches, and you still choose the harder path, that is when Meo is forged. The modern samurai leader does not need to declare his values. He demonstrates them quietly. His honesty becomes his sword, his humility his armor. He doesn't boast about strength, he embodies it. Others follow him not because of his authority, but because of his integrity. His word carries weight because it has never been broken. Such a man may not always win the crowd, but he always wins respect, the kind that cannot be bought or borrowed. Ego seeks power, honor seeks purpose. The difference defines the type of leader a man becomes. The ego-driven leader builds followers who fear him. The honorable leader builds warriors who trust him. The first creates dependency, the second creates growth. Honor teaches that leadership is not about standing above others, but standing with them, guiding through wisdom, not control. The samurai believed that honor connects heaven and earth, man and spirit, that every action reflects one's inner state. When a man moves with integrity, he becomes a living example of harmony between strength and virtue. Such a leader does not need to shout to be heard or force others to obey. His calm certainty speaks through action, through presence, through the unwavering clarity of purpose. To lead with honor is to lead with light, not the blinding fire of ego, but the steady flame that endures through every storm. Every samurai knew that the fire that destroys can also purify. In the forge of life, the flames that test a man are the same flames that temper his spirit into steel. This is the essence of the fire within, the unyielding will that turns pain into power and struggle into strength. The Japanese called this nintai, the virtue of endurance. The quiet courage to persist when the body is tired and the heart feels heavy. To the samurai, suffering was not something to be avoided, it was a sacred teacher. Each hardship was a hammer strike against the steel of the soul, shaping it into something sharper, stronger, more beautiful. A man who avoids the fire remains soft. A man who walks through it with purpose becomes unbreakable. The fire within is not about rage or aggression. It is the disciplined flame of determination, burning steady and controlled. Leadership demands this inner fire, the strength to stand when others fall, to move forward even when the path is hidden in smoke. In our modern age, comfort has become the enemy of growth. Men are taught to seek ease, to avoid pain, to run from the very trials that could make them powerful. But the samurai understood a deeper truth, that resilience is born in the flames of adversity. The man who learns to embrace struggle transforms it into fuel. Each failure becomes a lesson, each wound becomes a mark of wisdom. When life burns away what is unnecessary, what remains is pure essence, purpose, clarity, resolve. The fire within is not lit once. It must be fed every day, with small acts of discipline, courage, and persistence. It grows when you rise early to pursue your mission, when you choose effort over excuse, when you remain calm while the world tests your patience. True strength is not built in moments of ease, but in hours of endurance. The samurai called this spirit kokoro no hai, the heart's flame that refuses to die. A leader who carries this fire radiates it to those around him. His presence ignites courage in others, not by words, but by example. People sense when a man has faced his trials and emerged stronger. It's in his eyes, his posture, his tone. The fire within doesn't make you loud, it makes you steady. It gives your words weight because they are forged in experience. A leader's flame does not consume, it illuminates. It brings light to those still walking in darkness. The samurai believed that every warrior's fire was part of a greater eternal flame. The spirit of kaizen, the constant pursuit of improvement. To lead with fire means to never settle, to keep sharpening, to keep rising from the ashes of defeat. This kind of strength cannot be faked or borrowed. It must be earned. Through the willingness to suffer, to adapt, and to keep burning with purpose even when the winds of doubt blow strongest. But the fire within must be balanced with wisdom, or it will turn destructive. The samurai were masters of this equilibrium. Fierce in spirit but calm in mind. Their flame burned not to destroy but to refine. This is the art of the warrior leader, to harness passion without letting it rule him. When the inner fire is disciplined, it becomes a source of inspiration, not chaos. It drives a man to act with conviction, but also to think with clarity. It fuels compassion as much as strength, teaching that true power lies in the ability to endure with grace. The modern samurai leader carries this same balance, fire in his heart, but serenity in his soul. His struggles have not hardened him, they have polished him. He does not fear the heat of life's forge because he knows that within the fire he will find himself sharper, stronger, and forged for greatness. In the philosophy of the samurai, battle was not won by the swiftest blade, but by the stillest mind. The warrior who could remain calm in chaos possessed an advantage greater than any weapon. This state of unshakable composure was called mushin, no mind, a condition of complete presence where fear, anger, and doubt dissolve, leaving only pure awareness. To the samurai, mushin was not emptiness, but freedom. Freedom from hesitation, distraction, and emotions control. In this state, the warrior becomes one with the moment, moving with precision and purpose. He does not react, he responds. Every action flows from clarity. This mental mastery is what separates a true leader from the impulsive crowd. For a man to command respect, he must first command his own mind. The calm leader does not let storms decide his direction. He stands as the mountain does, unmoved by wind, unshaken by noise, and unbent by pressure. In the modern world, chaos no longer arrives as clashing swords, but as constant distraction, endless notifications, noise, and emotional conflicts. Many men crumble not because they lack strength, but because they have never trained their minds to stay still. The modern samurai understands that mastery of the mind is mastery of life. He practices awareness the way a swordsman practices form, daily, deliberately, with reverence. Whether through meditation, silence, or focused action, he trains his attention to return to the present moment again and again. This practice builds mental armor. It allows him to make clear decisions when others panic, to see through illusion when others react in fear. The samurai believed that victory was decided long before battle began. It was decided in the discipline of the mind. When your thoughts are calm, your energy becomes controlled. When your energy is controlled, your leadership becomes undeniable. The calm leader radiates authority because he embodies stability. People naturally trust those who remain composed under pressure. When others lose direction, they look to the man who stands firm, the one whose stillness commands without demand. This presence is not born from arrogance, but from mastery. The samurai trained endlessly so that in moments of danger, their minds would not waver. Their breath was slow, their movements precise, their judgment unclouded. They were not slaves to emotion, but servants of purpose. This is how a leader earns silent respect. Not through shouting orders, but through the serenity of his example. The calm amid chaos becomes a mirror for others, reflecting back what true strength looks like, not the absence of fear, but the control of it. Such composure cannot be faked. It must be cultivated in the solitude of discipline, where a man learns to face his inner storms and tame them before facing the world. The mastery of mind is the final test of leadership, the ability to stay centered no matter how great the pressure. The samurai called this inner balance, hayoshin, the everyday mind, a steady consciousness that remains the same in peace or battle. To cultivate hayoshin is to live with equanimity, to be strong but gentle, fierce but composed. The modern warrior leader must learn this balance to guide others effectively. When chaos rises, he becomes the calm eye of the storm, bringing order through presence, not control. He understands that emotion clouds judgment, and that peace is the ultimate weapon. A man who can hold calm under fire becomes unstoppable, because no circumstance can dictate his spirit. This is the samurai path of leadership. Not to dominate through power, but to lead through peace. To master the mind is to master the moment. And in mastering the moment, a man earns the respect that no force can take away. Every samurai understood that true immortality was not found in glory, but in legacy. The sword may rust, the armor may fade, but the spirit of a man who lived with purpose continues to breathe through those he inspired. This is the legacy of the blade, the idea that a warrior's actions carve his name into eternity, not through monuments, but through memory. The samurai lived by isagioi, the virtue of leaving life gracefully, knowing that death was not the end, but a reflection of how well one had lived. Every strike of their blade, every moment of honor, was a message to the future. This is how a man should live. To build your own legacy is to live each day as if your story will guide others long after you are gone. The modern samurai leader must remember, leadership is not about power today, but influence tomorrow. Your example is your weapon. Your integrity is your sword. The power of example is greater than any command. Words can persuade, but actions transform. The samurai did not lecture about honor. They demonstrated it through discipline, loyalty, and sacrifice. Their apprentices watched, learned, and mirrored their masters, passing on the code of Bushido through living embodiment. In the same way, a true leader in the modern age shapes others not by control, but by character. When you show patience instead of anger, integrity instead of deceit, strength instead of arrogance, you lead without even speaking. This is how you inspire men to rise, not through fear or instruction, but through reflection. People follow what they respect, and they respect what is real. The legacy of the blade reminds every man that his daily actions are strokes of steel, shaping the legacy that will remain long after the noise fades. A leader's greatest achievement is not in what he conquers, but in what he cultivates, in the strength he awakens in others. The samurai believed that each warrior was both student and teacher, that the code of honor was a living flame passed from heart to heart. When a leader embodies wisdom, humility, and courage, those around him begin to reflect the same. His presence becomes a forge where others find their edge. This is the quiet magic of true influence, the ability to inspire transformation without force. The legacy of a great leader is not written in victories, but in the growth of those who walked beside him. It is seen in the men who rise after him, guided by his example, strengthened by his words, and shaped by his discipline. The samurai did not aim to be remembered, they aimed to live rightly. In doing so, they became unforgettable. Every man must one day face the truth of impermanence, that his time, strength, and voice will eventually fade, but what he creates within others endures. This is the final lesson of the legacy of the blade, that the purpose of strength is not domination, but continuation. A true samurai leader lives so that his principles outlast him, so that his discipline becomes the standard for others to rise to. His life becomes a message written in the fire of action, a message that says, live with honor, stand with courage, lead with truth. The modern warrior must see his journey not as a path to recognition, but as a path to remembrance. To become the kind of man whose example kindles the next generation of warriors. For in the end, legacy is not about being known, it is about being felt. And the mark of the samurai, the mark of true leadership, is to live in such a way that your spirit remains sharp and shining long after your blade is laid to rest. The journey of the samurai leader is not one of conquest, but of creation. The creation of a man so disciplined, so grounded, and so true to his principles that his very existence becomes a standard for others to follow. Through discipline over desire, he learns mastery of self. Through presence of steel, he commands respect in silence. Through honor in every action, he becomes a beacon of integrity. Through the fire within, he transforms hardship into power. Through calm amid chaos, he learns the art of mental dominion. And through the legacy of the blade, he understands that leadership is not about being followed, it is about awakening greatness in others. This is the code of Bushido, reborn in modern form. Not as an ancient relic, but as a living philosophy for men who refuse to live ordinary lives. To walk this path is to accept a sacred challenge, to rise each day with purpose, to act with clarity, and to stand as a pillar of strength in a world that worships comfort. The samurai did not live for applause, they lived for alignment. Their greatness came not from fortune or fame, but from unyielding devotion to a higher standard. The same fire burns within you, the same potential waits to be forged. You need only the courage to face yourself, to choose discipline over weakness, purpose over pleasure, and honor over ego. So, as you stand at the edge of your own battlefield, whether it's your career, your relationships, or your inner world, remember this truth. The man who masters himself can never be defeated. You are not meant to blend in, you are meant to lead, with steadiness, with strength, with silence. The world does not need more noise. It needs more warriors of character. Let your actions become your voice, your example become your legacy, and your life become your message. Now, take this code into your daily life. Carry the fire of Bushido in your heart, the stillness of Mushin in your mind, and the integrity of Meo in your soul. Stand tall, lead with purpose, and remember, respect is not demanded. It is earned through the way you live. You are the modern samurai. This is your path, your forge, your destiny.